Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head over to Greece once again, and this is yet another of the beers that I brought back with me from my recent trip down there. So for this one we're going to look at another brewery who I've not reviewed anything from yet. So we're going to go to the island of Crete today, which I believe is the biggest of the Greek islands. We're going to Heraklion, which I believe is the capital city of Crete, and we're going to have a look at my first beer from Solo. So this one is the Psaki. It's an IPA and it comes in at 7.5%. I've heard some good things about this beer, so definitely looking forward to reviewing it for you here on the channel. I've not actually tasted any beers from these guys yet. I didn't see them on tap or anything when I was over in Greece, so I'm glad that I'm able to have a first taste of this for you on the channel. So as always, I hope you guys enjoy my take on this beer. So anyway, as is usual with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you want to get straight to the tasting, of course, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that I'll do from Solo in the near future. I do have 2 more of their beers to review for you at some point. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel, of course, has a geography-based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city, state, prefecture, county, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlist of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the Greek beer reviews that I've done for you. That's been added to over the next little while, of course, and hopefully I can do more Greek beers in the fairly distant future as well. But as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Solo Beer then. So this is quite an interesting company. They were founded back in 2015 by Alagnia, who was the founder of Untappd brewery up in Norway. They were the very first Norwegian craft brewer. I believe it was back in 2002 that they started, and they were also the first commercial sake brewery that popped up in Europe as well. But Alagnia, of course, was an airline pilot for a number of years for Scandinavian Airlines as well. But this company now, the Solo Beer Company, are based primarily in Heraklion in Crete, but it's also linked quite heavily with a company called Grapes and Gratification. So this one, it's a vineyard in the little town of Alagnia, which is about 25 kilometres or so to the south of Heraklion, and there's a group of Cretans working in there as well. So they also deal with a lot of the business and marketing side of the brewery, while Ketil is kind of dealing with the beer brewing and things like that. And I think he's making wines and things like that now as well. So they're making wines using the Plato and Vidiano grapes, and they're also doing some other stuff with brewing spirits and things like that. So it seems to be that Ketil's basically bought a piece of land in Greece and he's just experimenting a lot, which is really quite cool. They're apparently experimenting with orange wines, which is something I've never even heard of. So I will go to Crete at some point, and I will go along there and have a little look at what they're doing, because I think that would be a really interesting thing. And from what Yorgos, my Greek friend, was telling me, Crete is a really nice place and somewhere that I definitely need to go. I really enjoyed my time in Greece, and I think I definitely need to go and explore it a little bit more. It's actually a lot bigger than you would actually think, but a very beautiful country, very kind people, of course, and I do look forward to returning there. And like I say, they do some good craft beer, so I highly recommend that you go there. But anyway, that's all you really need to know about Solo Beer just now. I'll put their website and stuff in the description for you below. The other thing I should mention actually was that these guys were originally contract brewing, but they started brewing the beers in their own facility in Alagnia, I believe, back just a couple of months ago actually. So they are starting to brew their beers actually on Crete now, which is pretty good. So yeah, let's get on to the actual tasting of this beer itself. So this one is a 7.5% IPA. It's hot with Chinook, Cascade, Simcoe and Centennial, and it's got a malt base of pale. I believe it's 80% pale, and then 10% light Munich and 10% wheat malt as well. So should be a really nice beer, this one. Just let you have a little quick look at the artwork on this one before we open it up. So yeah, there you can see a little bit of stuff in Greek on the back there, so if you are watching from Greece and you want to pause that and have a read, you certainly can do. But I think it's just telling you a little bit about the actual the beer itself and the different things to do with IPAs and stuff like this. But yeah, nicely presented, this one. The artwork does actually remind me quite a little bit of the Untappd. It's just kind of, you know, subtle and just nicely done. But all the beers have a very similar style of artwork to this. It just depends on which one it actually is. They've all just got different colours, and there you can see the Solo brand symbol on the bottle cap there as well. Of course, this is the Greek one. You've got Sigma, the O, the lambda for this one, and then the O. Yeah, so I do like that with Greek. It kind of reminds me a lot of the symbols. And as I say, there is the name of the beer there, Psaki. So there you've got your Psi, your Alpha, your Kappa, and I don't know what you call the I in Greece actually. I'm really not sure about that. But yeah, nicely presented beer, this one. So let's get it out and we'll get on with the tasting then. Nice smoky opening there. Oh, and you can smell some of the nice hoppy qualities coming out of this beer as well. But let's get it out and into the glass. Now, one thing I was being told about IPAs since I did my last video, a couple of folk commented, apparently the Greeks like their IPAs to have just a little bit of age on them. So that's one of the interesting things. It's not like the Americans or other people where they like to drink their IPAs really, really fresh. Apparently the Greeks like to let them age for a little bit. So maybe that kind of explains why there's that kind of fruity, juicy character. It does lean more towards the juicy side of things rather than being overly kind of hoppy and bitter, if you like. Because most of these IPAs that I've had, this one's 50 IBUs, but you know, normally that's actually quite high for a Greek IPA in my experience. But yeah, with this one, as you can see, you've got a nice solid finger and a half of a frothy, I would say slightly kind of creamy coloured head on this one. One or two big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass and quite a few little ones just heading up towards the bottom of that head there. But you know, overall it does actually look pretty nice. In terms of colour, I would say this is a kind of deep sort of blood orangey colour that's coming out of this one. But you know, it looks pretty much exactly as you would expect a kind of IPA to. So yeah, let's take a closer look at the aroma then and just see how we get on. Oh yeah, with this one this beer leans a little bit more towards the kind of malty side of things, I think. So yeah, you can pick up a little bit of the fruity notes out of this beer. You can definitely get a little bit of the grapefruit, the passion fruit, and I would say some of the lemony notes as well. So the Centennial's the one that will give you the lemony notes, but the other ones, the Chinook and the Cascade, they'll give you a kind of strong grapefruit note. The Simcoe will give you a little bit of that passion fruit as well. But you can definitely pick out all of those notes in this one. It's got a good kind of floral, aromatic, sort of piney note to it as well, which again is what you expect from these hops. But there's a bit of lighter and grassy character in there, and the malts are kind of coming through quite nicely as well. So for me, this beer, it's got a nice little bit of a bready, caramelly note to it, which is interesting. Bit of a biscuity sweetness to it as well. There is a little touch of a grainy note to this beer, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, a big white bready quality and a little bit of biscuity sweetness as well. That'll maybe be from the Munich malts, although they give you a sort of sweeter bready note, so it may well more be that. But yeah, mainly a bready malt base to this one, but there is a little bit of a sweeter, slightly caramelly note coming out of this beer. So yeah, let's have a taste of this one and just see how we get on then. So this one is the Psaki IPA from Solo Beer in Alagnia, just to the south of Heraklion on Crete in Greece. I do apologise for any bad Greek pronunciations in this video, but let's get stuck in. Sklandia, Skal, Yamas. Yeah, that's quite a nice beer, that one actually. It's quite different from the other Greek IPAs that I've had as well, because it has got a good little bit of bitterness to that one. As I said, the IBUs in this beer are a little bit higher than some of the other IPAs that I'd had from Greece, if I remember correctly, and it does show in this one a little bit. But yeah, it's a nice beer, that. I'll tell you straight away, I certainly wouldn't hesitate to drink that one again. But they've done a nice job of that, and you know, when it's Ketil Yiki, and he's one of probably the most well-regarded craft brewers in Europe, if not the world, you know, he is going to be able to produce a nice IPA. But with this one, yeah, we'll start off with the malt base. So you've got that nice little bit of white bready character that just blankets the middle of your palate there. There is a bit of biscuity sweetness, just kind of, it forms a sort of U shape across your tongue, but right in the middle of the palate you've got a little bit of a kind of slightly stronger caramelly note coming out of the beer. It's 7.5% for an IPA. Pardon me, you are going to get a little bit of that, because it is in terms of a regular IPA, not even talking about doubles, this is getting to the heavier side of things in terms of alcohol. When you've got a Norwegian brewer though, you would expect that, to be honest. But yeah, that's a solid IPA, that. You wouldn't expect anything less, to be quite honest. The malt base is just really nicely done for me. As I've told you before on these videos, I always like it when an IPA malt base just has a little bit of caramel in it, because I think that really does help the beer. It just gives it that little bit of sweetness to balance the hoppy bitterness and the fruits. I think it works really, really well. So in terms of the hoppy side of the beer then, a little touch of earthiness in the back corners of the palate. I will say that this beer is 6 months old in the bottle, so it's not quite at its freshest, but that's how the Greeks like it. But yeah, a little touch of earthiness in there in the back corners of the palate. As you go further forward, there's a little touch of a herbal quality there. But as you come further forward along the sides of the tongue, you do get a nice little bit of that dark, floral, aromatic bitterness. It's maybe even leaning towards the piney resins. When you've got Chinook in the beer, that does tend to give you more of a kind of dank pine resin rather than the lighter floral aromatic notes. But definitely a bit of that dark pine resin there. Round the very front curve of the palate, you've got a little bit of that lighter kind of grassy notes starting to come out of the beer as well. You can just feel that round there, but of course behind the front curve of the palate, that's where the fun begins with this beer. That's where you get all those little, you get that little oily bubble where all those nice juicy fruity esters come out of the beer. But yeah, that's a really, really nice one. So with the fruity side of this beer, for me, you can feel that sort of slightly darker flavour of the grapefruits in there. That's really coming out. And as the beer kind of just progresses on a little bit, as it opens up, you start to get a bit more of the passion fruit, which will be from the Simcoe, of course. But and you can feel a little bit of the lighter grapefruity notes coming out from the Cascade. The Chinook, like I was saying, it's a big dark piney resin hop with that really kind of strong grapefruit flavour. You can feel that forming the kind of linchpin of the beer. On top of it, you get a little bit of the passion fruits from the Simcoe, and you can feel the lighter bits of the Cascade in there. And there's a little bit of the kind of Chinook, the Centennial starting to come out of the beer as well. You can feel a little bit of that nice kind of lemon sherbety flavour coming out of this one, although I would say the passion fruit for me is the flavour that's sticking around the most. But you can feel the dark grapefruit forms the linchpin, but on top of that it's the passion fruits that are really coming out from the Simcoe, I think. But it's a really nice beer, this one. As I said, the thing that's getting me about this, I don't know if this beer maybe has been designed so that, you know, to have this effect with a little bit of age, but you can definitely pick up a little bit of that caramel boozy character, and I think it just makes the beer really kind of nice and drinkable. So it would be interesting to get a couple of these and, you know, age them a little bit and just see how the flavour changes, because as I said, I was told that the Greeks like to give their IPAs just a little bit of age to kind of, I don't know if it's to take away some of the bitterness and make it more juicy or exactly what it is, but I think this beer, as I say, it's 6 months old. Not at its freshest, but you can still pick up all these flavours, and the malt base does actually come out quite nicely on this. So, and it's an interesting thought going forward with this one, actually. But yeah, all the fruity notes in the beer are still coming out nicely. But it's really nice. I certainly wouldn't hesitate to drink it again. In terms of the mouthfeel then, with this one I would say mid-bodied definitely, carbonation's quite smooth, leans a little bit towards the oily side of things in terms of the overall mouthfeel, good little bit of hoppy bitterness to this one, juicy fruits in there. It's not going to blow your head off in terms of IBUs, right enough, and the malt base just has a nice balance of smoothness and sweetness, but it does lean a little bit more towards that slightly sweeter side of things. But overall, they've done a really nice job with this one. And you certainly wouldn't expect anything less from these guys. When you've got Crete in charge of the brewery, you know, it's going to be pretty good. So I look forward to seeing what these guys put out in the future. They do have a kind of core range of beers, and I do hope that I can get out to Crete one time and have a little look at their brewery and stuff like that. That would be cool if I could set up an interview with Crete or something like that. So yeah, hopefully in the future that's something we can look at. But yeah, really nice beer this one, and I'm glad that I got to try a craft beer from Crete as well. Hopefully I can go out and visit there. So yeah, the Psaki IPA from Solo Beer, really interesting one. It's got a nice little bit of malty flavour, but a good bit of that kind of hoppy kick that you expect from an IPA. So another very, very solid Greek craft beer, and I'm glad that I got to review this one. So yeah, let's leave it at that. Once again, thank you for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Let me know your own thoughts on this one in the comment section below. Let me know what your favourite beers are from Solo Brewery as well, and I will catch you guys very soon. So this one was the Psaki IPA from the Solo Beer Company in Alagnia, just to the south of Heraklion on Crete in Greece. Once again, thank you for watching my beer reviews. Make sure you check out all my social media and everything like that, and I will catch you guys very soon. Yamas.